There's a United States presidential election coming up in just a few short weeks. What impacts will this have on the stock market and your investments? Let's dive into it. What's up guys, it's Kai here. Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, I make videos on finance, investing, and money. If these type of videos interest you, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below and the notification bell to stay updated on upcoming videos. Today I'll be going over the upcoming presidential election and its possible impacts on the stock market and other investments. I'll also be going over on what I plan to do with my investments to take advantage of the opportunities that may present itself in the future. Now if you could go ahead and smash that like button, it'll really help support the channel. Let's dive into it. So far this year has been a wild one with stock market highs, record dives, and now a record stock market recovery. The market is very volatile. So in the past, during election years, it shows that markets have been extremely volatile. And this is due to uncertainty in the market, whether which president will win, especially this year during a pandemic, and how maybe their policies will affect investing in the future. In this year's presidential election, both sides seems to be very polarized in both their policies and their ideas. But this is not a video to go on about politics. I'm going to strictly stick to how different policies might affect the stock market and investments coming up into the future. Well, let's start off with one of the policies that could have one of the most major impacts, which would be taxes. So as far as tax policies go, if Trump gets elected, we could assume more of the same. Less regulation and taxes on businesses, promoting some growth and more jobs, essentially keeping the stock market in the trajectory that it was headed prior to the pandemic. Now taking a look at Biden's tax stances, specifically the capital gains tax, the capital gains tax is almost doubling. So now what capital gains tax is when you take your money and you invest it somewhere, and the profits you make on your investments, you then get taxed again on top of that, which is kind of like double dipping for the government, because at first you get taxed when you make your money, and then when you invest your money, they tax you again when you make profits on top of that money. Traditionally, capital gains tax has been less than regular income tax, and this is done so that it could incentivize people to invest their money instead of kind of hoard it and just keep it in the savings. With people investing money, then they'll invest it in business or opportunities, which could then further some more growth. So the Democrats' proposed capital gains tax is almost double. Currently, the capital gains tax is about 20%. It's going to be doubled to about 40%. I'd also like to point out that this would only affect people that make over $1 million a year, which will bring me to my next point, where typically people that make over $1 million a year are the people that have a lot of money in the stock market and investments. I'll run a little scenario here on how this may affect the stock market coming up. Let's say you went and bought Tesla years ago and your money 10x, and you're now sitting on $1 million worth of profit from your initial investment. At current capital gains tax rates, if you sold currently this year, you'd have to pay $200,000 in taxes, 20%. Let's say that these big investors foresee the capital gains tax increase to 40%. Now that's double. If they held on to their money and say the tax rates change next year, they would have to pay an extra $200,000 straight to taxes. So on either side, so if Trump wins, you could expect the stock market will go ahead and do what it's been doing. But if Biden wins and the Democrats win, people might foresee a tax increase and begin selling off their stocks to take advantage of the lower tax rates. If people decide to go ahead and take their profits while they can pay less taxes, this may create a dive in the stock market. Now don't worry, I'm not saying that if Biden wins, the stock market will crash. This might just create a short sell-off opportunity where they'll take their profits and pay less taxes. The dive may be coming, but people are not going to let their money sit outside of the stock market and just do nothing. After the quick dive, people will move their money back into the stock market to take advantage of the low prices, and then you'll continue to see the stock market rise again. Now this is shown true throughout history. So throughout history, whenever a Republican president would get elected in their first year, the average stock market would go up about 8.3%, compared to when a Democrat would get elected throughout history in their first 2 years, the stock market would only go up 5.3%. Now it gets interesting when you look at their 4-year term stats. So after a 4-year term for a Republican president, the stock market would go up 8.8%. Now, when compared to a Democrat president, the stock market will go up very similarly at 8.6% on average over their 4-year span. So it didn't matter that the first year it went up only 5%. Over the 4-year span, it went up practically the same amount that it did with a Republican president. So this goes to show it doesn't matter which president is in office, whether it be Republican or Democrat. Over time, the stock market will continue to go up, And it is shown to go up the same amount regardless of whether a Republican or a Democrat is in office. Whoever's in office should not really have a big impact on what your long-term investments are doing. So what am I going to do with this information, and how am I going to situate my money to try to get the most benefit out of the situation at hand? So as you can see throughout the year, the market is very volatile as investors do not like uncertainty. So right now, it is unclear who's going to win this presidential election. So for my short-term investments, I will be stacking cash outside of the market because it seems very uncertain right now. Just the other week, Donald Trump got COVID and the market took a quick little dive. So the virus is still running around and could have serious impacts on the market, especially with both candidates being very old. Also touching on uncertainty, both candidates seem to be on the page of not conceding on the results of the election. Now, no matter who wins, whether it be Trump losing and not stepping down out of power, or whether it be Biden losing and contesting the whole thing, it'll still create a lot of uncertainty. People may be losing faith in the fiat currency with all of the printing of the stimulus packages. It might be a good idea to look into gold and cryptocurrency. If you're interested on how I plan on 10xing my investments with cryptocurrency, go ahead and click this video here. I go over on how I plan on doing that. So at the end of this coming year, I'd expect a lot of market volatility. I'm stocking some cash on the side to take advantage of a potential dip in the stock market to buy on the low. I know you're not supposed to time the market, but for short-term investors, that's the whole deal, is timing the market. Now for my long-term investments, I'm just leaving it in there because as history has shown, that it doesn't matter who's in office, the stock market will continue to grow and increase. Now this election has been very entertaining to say the least. And it doesn't matter who you're voting for. There's only one person responsible for the best interests of your investments, and that's you. So in the long term, it shouldn't matter who's sitting in office as long as you take advantage of the best opportunities that are available to you at the time. So hopefully with this knowledge, you can take advantage of the best opportunities that are available to you. Thanks for watching the video, guys. I hope you liked the video. Please go ahead and smash that like button to support the channel. Share this video if you found it interesting. Make the comment section interesting by saying who you're going to vote for and why. And I'll see you in the next video.